What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Mr. Opinionated. It's been quite a while since I have posted a live video because I typically don't go live unless I have something that I believe is worth talking about. Posted a status a little bit earlier in the day, and it was pretty much talking about being financially poor, because I know a lot of people seem to be using that as an excuse because of the way that they act and some of the things they do. It's kind of like folks be like, I'm doing this because I'm poor, and I'm acting like this because I'm poor, because I have to do this because I'm poor. I talk like this because I'm poor. And it's like, are you freaking serious? I don't know about you, but most of the people that I know, their families migrated from the South. So that's when families were like 13, 14 people in a house, 4 to 5 people in the bedroom, and like a whole pig had to last the entire winter for a family that big. And their character was still intact. They still were cordial. Children were still respectful. They weren't cursing folks out. They weren't acting crazy. They weren't tearing up. They weren't stealing and doing things like that. And they never used their financial place as an excuse for not having good morals. It just seems like we have come so far away from where we were brought up in, like the things that our parents and our grandparents and our great grandparents did, and the principles that they tried to instill, and the way that they raised their families. And it's like all of these years later, it's like, I'm doing this because I'm poor. And I'm thinking, like, really? You're poor on what level? In comparison to what? Because these are people that lived like Great Depression poverty. And just like I said, their principles, their ethics, their character was still intact. I really think that we have come so far till we are just letting anything be used as an excuse for some of the things that we are doing. It's like, we're calling ourselves savages, and people are saying, I'm running credit card fraud because I'm poor and I'm out here struggling and I need to do what I need to do. I do not remember my older relatives, meaning, grandmas, great grandmas, and great uncles and things, doing things that says, I'm doing this because I'm poor, because, I'm struggling. It's like, I don't know where this mentality came from, and I don't know why we are continuing to let it grow, especially in the hearts of our young people, which are the future. The young people are the future, and it's kind of scary when people are thinking like this. I mean, we have young adults beating up 90-year-old ladies, robbing them, and people who really think that they can take from you. You get your job and you working hard. You struggling to pay your bills, and they can't get a pair of Jordans, and they think it's okay to grab that gun and stick you up. And they use the excuse because I'm poor. And once again, I say, you're poor on what level? I don't think people understand poverty versus lack of funds. Now, people may be poor in thought, poor in their mind, poor in principles, poor in their mentality, but we have to stop blaming things on our financial situation, meaning things that go against good character, things that go against good values, things that go against things that, God just says, you know what, you shouldn't do this. So the whole poor thing, I really have a problem with it. Now, of course, we know that growing up in dire financial straits, it encourages some, not all, because all don't crack. to, you know, get into lives of crime and to do things, and our people are more susceptible to some things. But it's like, what about the people that don't get into those things, that don't use their financial state or their being poor as an excuse to do things that just are not of good character? So it was a short video today. I just wanted to talk about it because I'm really getting a little bit tired of, and I guess I won't call them excuses, because some people just get hooked up and caught up in certain things. But for our children, we definitely cannot let them sink in this type of mentality to think that it's okay to behave this way, it's okay to talk this way, it's okay to do these things simply because there is some financial lack. And again, we can't tell everybody to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, and because we know that as people of color, and of course that's a broad spectrum, that we have more hurdles to jump through. We have sometimes a little bit more challenges than everybody else. But letting people think that it's okay to behave a certain kind of way simply because they're in financial lack, simply because they don't have the finances that they want, that it's okay, that, you know, I can act this way because I'm poor. It's like, no. So I don't know. Could be me getting old. I just think it's a little bit silly, and I think it is also dangerous. It's very dangerous because people will rob you and kill you, slice your throat, and leave you for dead or half dead simply because they think that I'm poor and I don't deserve this. So I'm going to behave this way and I'm going to act this way. So it's just not okay. And I don't know if people just don't want to open their mouths anymore, if people don't want to say certain kind of things or feel like they're being old or judgmental, but it's like, I don't know. And many of my friends have, you know, grown up struggling and have not used it as an excuse to behave a certain kind of way. It's like, I remember like having a black and white TV in my room, and people today have TVs like 50, 60 inches in their house, and you know, they're talking about I'm poor. It's like, I don't think you know what poor is. Like, really. People have coined poor as I can't get what I want, as opposed to I don't have the things that are necessary to live and survive. So that's my live video. It's just like, it's crazy. I think the more we get, the more we have access to, the more technology we have, I think we get crazier. It's kind of like when people didn't have much, it was like they were I don't know, it just seems like they were more put together. They had more ethics, they had more character. It was just like more things that people wouldn't dare do. But it seems like the more we get, the more access we have to stuff, the more ratchet some people get. I don't understand it, because you would think that the more that people have, the better they would get, the more educated they would get. I don't know, but it seems like we're going in reverse. So that's my message for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. So, and if somebody, and kids, because you know most time younger people are saying this, and just like I said, I don't think people understand what poverty is. I mean, I've volunteered at things and worked at the Healing Corner, and there's a lot of people living in tent cities, and that's poverty. It's like you don't have a roof over your head. And I have Jamar says, hard fried and white rice Sundays. Now I appreciate a home cooked steak and home food. Right. It's like people was eating like soup every day, or people eat like potato soup every day, or just like little basic stuff. And people like, I'm poor, and you got like $800 worth of link. And I'm thinking like, what? You poor where? It's like, that's not poverty. It's like you have the government giving you a subsidy where you can like fill your refrigerator till it like runneth over. And of course, like in some areas, you may not have the cash, but you have like access to like food subsidies. And of course, there are a lot of people that get supplemental income, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just like Demar said, it should be a stepping stone, but it's like we're not poor. It's like how many pairs of shoes you got? You got 3, 4, 5 pairs of shoes. You talking about you poor? You got like 7, 8, 10 pairs of pants. You like have choices. You go in your dresser and you like have choices. You have different pairs of socks. You got Argyle socks. You have white socks. You have black socks. You got church socks. And it's like, I'm poor. No, you're not poor. You have a place with 3, 4, 5 rooms. And you're talking about you're poor. You have your own bed and you're talking about you're poor. No, your mind is probably poor, but in finances, in comparison to like other people in the world and to people that are like out on the streets in these extreme weather conditions, I don't think people understand what poverty is. They're claiming something that they're not experiencing, and some people, not all people, are using an excuse to do some very, very, very bad things. Right, Brenda. Some of us are just between blessings. It's like, I have seen people, on my block. It's like 3, 4, 5 families, struggling together. And, when one family get on, they move out. Then another family come in and they get on, they move out. And, some of us, we're too good to share like any living space with. And it's actually seen as a bad thing now. So, I just don't understand it. It's kind of crazy. So, it's like, because I'm poor, I'm doing this. Like, cause I'm poor, I'm gonna rob you. Cause I'm poor, I'm gonna steal from you. Because I'm poor, I'm gonna crack some cars. Because I'm poor, I'm gonna do something that's gonna hurt somebody else so that I can get what I want versus what I need. It's like, it's crazy. So that's my message, because the rest of it would just be ranting and repeating. So let's pray for people's mindset. Let's pray in the new year that we have restored, we have renewed, we have transformed minds. Because like I said, financially, the salaries that people are able to pull in these days in comparison to years ago, of course the cost of living is higher, especially in Chicago. But just the things, the money, the technology, the opportunities that we have are just way more than what our ancestors were privy to. And we like, you go back 2 or 3 generations, we have relatives that picked cotton and had to scrub floors and to slaughter pigs. And of course I keep using that example because that's one of the examples that I heard in my family, and it's crazy. And Brenda said, yes, because of the past conflict, family has had a hard time supporting each other. No growth, which is so vital. Right. It was like, I remember hearing stories of relatives migrating from the South and just supporting each other and everybody getting on. But now it's like, just like you said, the family unit has been so destroyed intentionally. And just because, fathers weren't there and people were there, had to carry the burden of their own, and folks falling out. And the extended family used to be really, really, really strong. I remember growing up in a wonderful extended family, but even now, it's like extended family is people pretty much worried about their own immediate unit, their own, their mom and their brothers and sisters, and that's about it. So many people are so concerned just with themselves, and the extended family is not as strong as it used to be. So that puts a bigger, burden on families and people that are struggling, because it used to be that, you could look around and you had a major support system that would support you and that would be there. But now, like, even the extended family is really in a bad state, because you look around and you don't have a lot of people who you can look to. And so many people have actually gone outside of their biological families to create other families, simply because the state of their blood family is just not good. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna get out of here. But that is my rant for the day. People saying because I am poor, I'm doing this. And let's not even talk about the entitlement of some people. That's a whole nother video, because we got a whole lot of people that feel entitled to stuff that they did not work for. And Damar says, I was privileged to hear an older person in my life who shared with me that she would pick so many pounds of cotton for 75 cents a day. Right. I've heard, my grandmother and great aunts talk about, baling cotton and doing things like that. And so many of we're so far removed from those things, but a lot of that stuff was like only 50, 60, 70 years ago, and we think that we're so far above that, so far removed. I'm like, it hasn't even been 100 years, and a lot of people really do not understand poverty and what it is to struggle and be poor. That's why I think that so many people think they're poor. And add on to that, the infatuation with materials. We are so materialistic, and we have to have something as soon as it comes out, and we have to have these name brands. And when we think that we can't get these things that have been put up here, we consider ourselves poor. It's like, no, you don't have to have the latest release. And especially young kids, when they can't have that stuff, and when older people, the Louis Vuittons and all these major brands that have been placed on pedestals, and we think that we can't get these things, and we think we're poor. You can't drive a Lexus, you can't drive a Beamer, and you think you're poor. No, you're not. And these are things that we don't even need. They're not necessities. They are luxury items. It says, I found an old pay stub of my granddad for $6. He brought a house and car outright with that, and anyone needing a place to live were welcome. Exactly. People were way more hospitable and way more supportive, and it's just not like that. You fall on some hard times, you may be able to sleep there like a couple of nights, maybe a week or two, but after that, people don't want to put up with you. They're like, okay, you got to go. And, even sometimes, if you offering a little bit to stay there, what you have, and people like, you got to get up out of here, or I can't stand this, or I need my space. It's like, I think that a time is going to return where people have to be in extended situations and share living and dwelling places, because Chicago is uber expensive. I know people that live in New York, and they say how expensive it is to live there, but the cost of living is increasing so much, and salaries are not increasing. And if people don't know how to make it together, I think we're going to be in way more trouble than we're in, because you have people who think that if they don't have, they think that it is okay to take, meaning that they don't have any character. So it's about to get rougher than it is, and we think it's rough now. But if people keep thinking like this and behaving like this, then we're in for a lot of trouble. So, like, I'm really going now. So peace out. Thank you for tuning in. Follow me on social media at Mr. Opinionated. That's MrOpenyonated on all social media. And of course, you follow me, I'll follow you back. Stay warm, and most of all, stop thinking that you are poor if you're one of those people. And if somebody says that around you, ask them, what does poor mean to you? Because we know that being poor in here is one thing. Being poor in your pockets is a totally different story. Peace out. Have a good night.